I'll never forget the summer it all started, 3 years ago, when a crack of golden light split the sky over the high school. I was slumped over my desk, trying to catch a nap. The pile of AP prep books on my desk was a skyscraper of anxiety, and the old fan in the corner just groaned, stirring the hot, sticky air. Suddenly, screams erupted from outside. I rubbed my eyes and looked up to see a jagged tear in the sky, like someone had ripped the fabric of reality. A pale blue mist bled from the wound, and as it drifted down to the football field, one of the students burst into flames. Another one just floated off the ground. Later, we'd learn what it was, the awakening. All over the world, energy nodes flared to life, and people began developing powers or abilities. The government quickly rolled out a classification system, from F-class to S-class. The S-class talents were 1 in a million, people who could command lightning or level a tank with a flick of their wrist. And F-class, well, that was basically the same as having no power at all. I found out where I stood on the day of the school's mandatory ability testing. The testing device was a metal box about chest high. One by one, students would place their hands on it. A light would flicker, jumping from green to yellow, then to orange. The rare jump to red would earn a chorus of gasps. When it was my turn, I touched the cool metal surface. The box blinked with a pathetic green light, and a line of text appeared on the screen. Ability, photosynthesis. Class F. The room went silent for a beat, then exploded with laughter. Photosynthesis? Leo, what are you, a houseplant? Kevin Miller slammed his hand on his desk, howling. He'd tested as a D-class strength enhancer, strong enough to lift a desk with one hand, and he was flexing triumphantly. Guess we know who's in charge of keeping the classroom green. Don't forget to water yourself, dude. The other kids joined in. Even the teacher overseeing the test sighed, a frown creasing his forehead. Leo, your raw energy index isn't bad. It's a shame about the ability itself. A real shame. I stood there, my hands balled in the hem of my shirt, my face burning. I tried to find a silver lining. Even an F-class power had to be good for something, right? Maybe I wouldn't need to eat anymore. I could just sunbathe for energy. Reality hit me like a ton of bricks. After the awakening, the school split into two groups, the haves and the have-nots. The powerless kids mostly kept their heads down, but even an E-class talent could swagger through the halls like they owned the place. Me? An F-class was worse than having nothing. The powerless could still claim they were pre-awakening. I was officially and permanently a certified dud. On my way home from school, I overheard our neighbor talking to my mom. So, Mrs. Martin, what was that ability your Leo got? Sunbathing? Is there a job market for that? My Jason tested as an E-class speed enhancer. We've already gotten a call from an abilities corporation. Mom didn't say anything. When we got home, she just made me a rack of ribs, telling me to eat up. I was pushing mashed potatoes around my plate when the tears started to fall. Mom, I choked out. Am I completely useless? I don't even have a real power. She pulled me into a hug, her own eyes getting misty as she stroked my hair. Don't you ever compare yourself to them. I've got you always. But I knew she was hurting too. The awakening changed everything. It used to be your degree that mattered. Now it was your ability class. I sent my high school diploma to a dozen companies. As soon as a hiring manager saw F-class photosynthesis on my resume, I'd either get a dismissive wave or a sarcastic smile. Sorry, we're not looking to hire any office plants. Maybe try the botanical gardens? Once, I applied for a waiter position at a diner. The owner, a portly man with a greasy apron, looked me up and down. You look like a decent kid, he said, but that power of yours can't even help you carry plates. I just hired a D-class strength type. He can carry 10 plates at once. Can you? I clenched my fists, said nothing, and walked out. I spent that whole afternoon on a park bench, watching kids mess around with their abilities on the playground. One was spraying water from his fingertips, another making little sparks dance in her palm. Even the smallest toddler there could make his balloon hover without a string. I just sat there, soaking in the sun, feeling like a different species. What was my power even for? Sunbathing? The only thing it seemed to do was give me a nice tan. Just as I was about to give up completely, someone found me. Two people in black suits showed up at my door. They had badges pinned to their lapels. Department of Advanced Abilities. The woman in the lead, maybe in her late 30s, had a kind face. Leo Martin, she said gently. I'm Agent Davis with the DA's Support and Relocation Division. Under the Federal Abilities Act, the government provides managed care services for low-class ability users without a source of income or employment. You still here? Managed care? Like a group home. Agent Davis smiled. Not a group home. It's a specialized sanctuary. It's called Pine Ridge Sanctuary. The environment is excellent, with dedicated staff to see to your needs. Room and board are covered. All you have to do is live your life. She handed me a brochure. The photo showed a beautiful lodge nestled in rolling green hills, with red-tiled roofs and white walls. The ground were covered in flower gardens, and sunlight drenched a perfectly manicured lawn. It looked peaceful. A lump formed in my throat. It turned out the country hadn't given up on a dud like me after all. I told my mom about it. She was hesitant, but after a long silence, she nodded. It might be good to check it out. If they'll take care of you, I'll have some peace of mind. The day I left for Pine Ridge, Mom packed me a suitcase full of clothes and a few bags of my favorite beef jerky. Agent Davis drove me. On the way, she explained, everyone at Pine Ridge is in a similar situation. There's no pressure to compare yourselves. The government has taken responsibility, and you won't be mistreated. I watched the city blur past my window, a knot of feelings twisting in my stomach. I knew this was probably my only future, a life spent on the government's dime, a professional sunbather, a useless man. Chapter 2. Life at Pine Ridge, Pampered for Sunbathing. Pine Ridge Sanctuary was even more beautiful than the pictures. As the car passed through the front gate, we drove down a lane flanked by tall, sycamore trees, their leaves of vibrant green. Sunlight filtered through the canopy, painting shifting patterns on the pavement. In the center of the grounds was a small lake, bordered by a massive field of golden sunflowers, all facing the sun. Leo, this will be your new home. The woman who greeted me was in her 40s, warm and smiling. Her name tag read Maria. I'm the residential coordinator here, she said. She led me into a 2-story cottage and opened the door to a south-facing room. See, the light in here is perfect. The sun streams in as soon as it rises. Just right for you. The room was modest but immaculate, with a single bed, a desk, and a small balcony furnished with a lounge chair. Maria helped me with my suitcase and handed me a glass of cool water. You must be thirsty after the drive. Dinner's in half an hour. First, let me introduce you to Dr. Evans. He's our on-site physician. If you ever feel unwell, he's your man. Dr. Evans was in his 50s, with kind eyes behind his glasses and a calm, deliberate way of speaking. He gave me a quick physical, took my blood pressure, and asked a few questions. Do you ever feel discomfort when you're in the sun for long periods? Dizziness, heart palpitations? I shook my head. No, actually I feel more energetic. He nodded, scribbling in a file. Your photosynthesis ability, while low class, isn't harmful. On the contrary, it seems to boost your metabolism. A little sun every day will do you good. Just don't overdo it in the midday heat. Okay, I said, a warmth spreading through my chest. It was the first time anyone had ever said my ability was good for anything. Dinner was in a communal dining hall. It was meatloaf with mashed potatoes and green beans. Pretty good, actually. I found a quiet corner, and I just started eating when Maria brought over a plate of sliced fruit. Have some more, Leo. Gotta get those vitamins. You're a little pale. More sun will fix that right up. An old man with a shock of white hair at the next table smiled at me. You must be the new arrival. Name's Arthur Peterson, but everyone calls me Art. My ability is F-class soil sense. Just as useless as yours, I reckon. I was taken aback by his bluntness. Art chuckled. Don't feel bad about it, son. We're all in the same boat here. The country hasn't thrown us away, so we shouldn't throw ourselves away either. See those flowers out there? We duds help grow them. I followed his gaze. The gardens were breathtakingly lush. The roses were bigger than my fist, and the hanging ferns cascaded nearly to the ground. This place used to have trouble keeping plants alive, Art explained. But ever since we moved in, they've been thriving. Dr. Evans thinks the faint energy we low-class talents give off helps nourish them. Something clicked in my mind. I remembered the little cactus on my windowsill back home. I barely ever watered it, but it had grown like a weed. Could that have been me? From that day on, I settled into a quiet, predictable routine at Pine Ridge. Every morning at 7, Maria would knock on my door. "Leo, breakfast time." It's a beautiful day for sunbathing. After a shower and a breakfast of oatmeal and eggs, Maria always gave me an extra egg, saying I needed the energy. I'd drag my lounge chair onto the balcony. The southern exposure was perfect. I'd lie back, close my eyes, and feel the sunlight seep into my skin like a warm, flowing river. It was so comfortable it could put me to sleep. Sometimes Maria would come by to chat. She told me about her son, a B-class cryo, an ice wielder, serving on the front lines. "He says it's dangerous out there, fighting those beasts every day," she said, her eyes welling up. "But he believes it's worth it to protect everyone back home." Listening to her, a pang of guilt hit me. Her son was risking his life, and here I was living off the government, doing nothing but soaking up rays. "Maria," I asked quietly, "am I really useless?" She paused, then patted my shoulder firmly. "Don't talk nonsense. The government is taking care of you because you're one of us. Just by being here and staying healthy, you're doing your part. Besides, look at the plants on this balcony. They've never looked better since you arrived. Isn't that your contribution?" I glanced at the pothose plant in the corner. When I first got here, it was a few sad-looking leaves. Now it's vibrant green vines that crawled all the way up the window frame. After lunch and a nap, I'd head back out for more sun. Dr. Evans would occasionally stop by to check my vitals. "You're in excellent health, Leo," he'd always say. "Better than most of the residents here. Keep it up." In the evenings, I'd walk the grounds with Art. He loved to tell stories about his life before the awakening, back when he worked in a factory. Simpler times, he'd sigh. Didn't have to worry about beasts or ability classes. Still, can't complain now. The country's looking after us old folks. The head of security was Captain Mike Rogers, a veteran in his 30s with a powerful build and a faint scar on his cheek. He was a D-class enhancer who could have been on the front lines, but a leg injury had landed him this post. He was a man of few words, but he was good to us. One afternoon, a sudden rainstorm caught me out in the garden. Captain Rogers jogged over and handed me his umbrella. "Get back inside. Don't want you catching a cold." I watched him run back to the security office through the downpour, a warm feeling spreading through me. One day, a new resident arrived. His name was Sam Jones, an F-class with vocal amplification. He could make his voice about twice as loud, which was next to useless. He was deeply depressed, refusing to leave his room or interact with anyone. Maria asked me to talk to him. I knocked on his door. Silence. I knocked again. "Sam, it's Leo Martin. I'm an F-class too. Can I come in?" After a moment, the door creaked open. Sam stood there with his head down, his eyes red from crying. "Here to laugh at me too?" he mumbled. I shook my head and stepped inside, holding out a sunflower I'd picked from the garden that morning. "When I first got here, I felt the same way you do," I said. "Felt like a total waste. But these flowers, this whole place, it's thriving because of us wastes. The government isn't keeping us here because we're useless. It's because we're human and we deserve to be protected." Sam stared at the sunflower, speechless. "Come out and get some sun with me tomorrow," I added. "It helps. It really does." The next morning, as I was settling into my lounge chair, I saw Sam quietly set up his own chair on the adjacent balcony. The sun washed over him, and as he closed his eyes, the corner of his mouth twitched into a faint smile. I smiled too. It turned out that even duds like us could bring each other a little warmth. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into nearly a year. My life at Pine Ridge was peaceful. I watched the seasons change, saw the gardens bloom and fade and bloom again. I watched Art practice his Tai Chi every morning, Maria bustle about her duties, and Captain Rogers make his steady patrols. I had almost forgotten I was a dud. I had almost forgotten how brutal the world outside was. Then, one morning, a news report shattered the peace. Chapter 3, The Bee Swarm. I was on my balcony, doing my usual morning routine, when Maria ran over, her phone in her hand and her face pale with fear. "Leo, look at the news. Something's happening in Rockbridge." I took the phone. A breaking news alert filled the screen, the anchor's voice trembling. "We have an emergency bulletin. A large-scale bee swarm has been detected east of Rockbridge. Initial assessments classify it as a sea-level threat. Multiple ability users have been reported as casualties. The National Guard is being deployed to assist. All residents in the vicinity are advised to prepare for immediate evacuation. My stomach dropped. Rockbridge was only about 60 miles from Pine Ridge. For the next few days, the news was a constant stream of horror. The sea level swarm escalated to a B level. The number of beasts grew, and they were getting stronger. The frontline ability teams were taking heavy losses. Even B-class talents were dying. A tense silence fell over the sanctuary. The easy conversations in the garden were replaced by hushed gatherings around the TV in the dining hall. Everyone's face etched with worry. What are we going to do? Sam whispered, his hands trembling. If they get past Rockbridge, they'll be right on top of us. Art sighed, his voice heavy. Stay calm. The government will protect us. We have Captain Rogers and his team and the military. But we all knew the military was stretched thin. One evening, Captain Rogers called an assembly. His expression was grim. Listen up. I've just received orders from the DA. The Rockbridge swarm has been reclassified as an A-level threat. Our frontline forces are falling back. The DA has ordered a full evacuation of this facility. We're being moved to a secure zone inland. When are we leaving? Maria asked, her voice tight. 0600 tomorrow, Rogers said. A convoy will be here to pick us up. Pack a bag with essentials only. Leave valuables. It won't be a safe trip. That afternoon was a blur of quiet, frantic packing. I didn't have much to take, a few changes of clothes, and the beef jerky my mom had given me. Maria came by to help. Take this, she said, handing me a thermos. It's full of hot water. And this, she added, pressing a wide-brimmed sun hat into my hands. In case you get a chance to. You know, I clutched the thermos, my heart aching with gratitude. Even now, she was thinking of me. That night, I couldn't sleep. I thought of my mom, wondering if she was safe. I called her. It rang for a long time before she picked up, her voice frantic. Lau, honey, are you okay? The news. They said Rockbridge. I'm fine, Mom, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. They're moving us to a safe zone tomorrow. The government is taking care of us. Oh, thank God, she breathed, relief washing through her voice. You just take care of yourself, you hear? Don't you worry about me. I'm safe here. I hung up, but the anxiety didn't go away. I knew she was just trying to be strong for me. At 5 the next morning, we gathered in the courtyard under a dark, starless sky. A convoy of 10 military trucks was waiting, their flatbeds lined with straw. After a quick head count, Captain Rogers motioned for us to board. Let's move. It could get rough on the road. Try to stay quiet. I climbed into a truck with Maria, Art, and Sam. As the engine rumbled to life and we pulled away, I looked back at Pine Ridge Sanctuary disappearing in the gloom. It may have been a home for duds, but it had been my home for a year. We'd been driving for about 2 hours when the convoy screeched to a halt. The sound of gunfire and explosions echoed from up ahead. Captain Rogers leaped out of the lead truck and ran back to us a moment later, his face ashen. We got hostiles. Ironhides. Not many, but they're tearing through our escort. Panic erupted in the truck. Someone started sobbing. Sam grabbed my arm, his palms slick with sweat. Leo, are we going to die? I was terrified, but I patted his hand. Rogers will figure something out. Just then, the sky went dark. I looked up and saw a black mass blotting out the horizon. It looked like a storm cloud, but it was moving, churning. It wasn't a cloud. It was a dense, living carpet of beasts. Someone screamed. It's an Omega-level swarm. The one from the news. It's here. A cold dread washed over me. Omega level. A threat capable of wiping a city off the map. If the military's elite ability users couldn't stop it, what chance did we have? Captain Rogers grabbed his radio, his voice cracking. Mayday, Mayday. This is Convoy Alpha 7. We are on the road between Pine Ridge and the safe zone and have been intercepted by an Omega-level swarm. Requesting immediate backup. I repeat, immediate backup. The radio answered with static. He slammed it down and drew his pistol. Nobody panic. My team will hold them off. You all start falling back. As he spoke, a pair of hulking iron hides crashed through the trees. They were 7 feet tall, covered in thick, bony plates that deflected bullets like pebbles. The guard with Rogers, all D and E-class talents, charged forward, but they were hopelessly outmatched. One of the guards was swatted aside by an ironhide's massive claw, landing in a crumpled heap. Maria screamed and covered her mouth. Art was trembling with rage and helplessness. Sam was curled in the corner of the truck, openly weeping. "It's over. We're all going to die." I watched the chaos, my heart pounding with a mixture of fear and fury. Fear of dying and fury at my own powerlessness. All I could do was watch as others fought and died to protect me. My ability was photosynthesis, sunbathing, but there was no sun. The sky was a suffocating blanket of monsters, lit only by the sporadic muzzle flashes and explosions. I felt weak, dizzy, a strange drowsiness creeping over me. "Leo, what's wrong?" Maria asked, noticing me swaying. She grabbed my arm to steady me. "Nothing. Just dizzy," I mumbled, slumping against the side of the truck. I closed my eyes. If only there was some sun, I thought. Just a little sun, and I'd feel stronger. As my consciousness started to fade, the sky flashed. It wasn't an explosion. It was light. A single, golden ray of sunlight pierced the monstrous canopy, a divine spotlight that fell directly on me. Instinctively, I stretched, turning my face toward the warmth. It was the only thing I could do. If I was going to die, I might as well die in the sun. I had no idea that simple, desperate act was about to change everything. Chapter 4. A world reborn in green. The moment the sunlight touched my skin, something deep inside me ignited. Before, the sun had just been a pleasant warmth. This was different. The light poured into me like a living current, flooding my veins, surging through my body until it pooled in my core as a swirling vortex of energy. With my eyes closed, I could feel this new power coursing through me, chasing away the fatigue and fear, replacing it with a strength I had never imagined possible. Suddenly, Maria shrieked, "Leo, look!" I opened my eyes and followed her pointing finger. I could only stare dumbfounded. From a crack in the truck's wooden floorboard, a single, tender green vine was sprouting. It grew with impossible speed, thickening and lengthening in seconds. It snaked over the side of the truck and whipped through the air, wrapping itself around a nearby iron hide. The beast thrashed, trying to tear the vine away, but it only tightened its grip. More vines erupted from the ground around me, covering the iron hide in a green cocoon. I watched, mesmerized, as the beast's body began to wither. Its tough, bony armor turned brittle and gray, until the entire creature crumbled into a pile of fine dust that scattered in the wind. The vine that had consumed it pulsed, its color deepening to a dark, healthy green. Then it shot off toward the next beast. I was completely stunned. This is my power? My photosynthesis can grow vines? Before I could even process it, the ground around our convoy erupted. Vines burst from the asphalt, from the dirt, from the cracks and rocks. They moved like a legion of great serpents, surging into the beast's swarm. Wherever they touched, the monsters were ensnared, consumed, and reduced to nothing. The corrosive acid spit by the vile maws did nothing. The vine seemed to absorb it, growing even faster. The shriekers that tried to take flight were plucked from the sky by tendrils that shot up from the ground, their bodies disintegrating before they even hit the earth. Even the colossal alpha beasts, the commanders of the swarm, were overwhelmed, their immense energy drained away until they too became dust. The wave of green life spread outward, flowing past the convoy, down the highway, and toward the ravaged city of Rockbridge. I could feel it all. With every beast the vines consumed, their power grew, and my own strength swelled in tandem. And it wasn't just the vines. The dead trees along the roadside began to sprout fresh leaves. The scorched grass grew back thick and green, dotted with wildflowers. In the distance, the blighted hillsides bloomed with life. The monstrous clouds in the sky had vanished, replaced by brilliant sunshine. For miles in every direction, the war-torn landscape was transformed into a lush, vibrant oasis. Flowers bloomed, birds sang, and butterflies danced in the air, as if the horrific battle had been nothing but a bad dream. I lay in the back of the truck, gazing at the world I had remade, my mind reeling. I never dreamed my F-class photosynthesis held this kind of power. I wasn't useless. My ability, it was the power to command nature itself. "Now," Sam whispered, stumbling over to me, his voice trembling with awe. You're an S-class, aren't you?" I shook my head. I had no idea what class I was. All I knew was that I felt incredible. The sun on my skin was a comforting balm, and my body was thrumming with limitless energy. Just then, Captain Rogers ran up, holding a satellite phone, his face flushed with excitement. "Now, it's the General. General Thompson wants to speak with you." He handed me the phone. I put it to my ear and heard a voice, old but full of authority. "Leo Martin, this is General Thompson of the Department of Advanced Abilities. We saw what you did. We saw everything. You are a national hero, son. You are the hope of humanity." I was speechless. "Listen to me, Leo," the general continued, his voice thick with emotion. "The swarm has been neutralized, but we don't know if more are coming. Your ability requires sunlight, correct? We are initiating Project Icarus immediately. We are redirecting every available satellite to reflect sunlight to your position. We will ensure you are never without it." "Project Icarus?" I asked, confused. "It was a contingency plan for an asteroid threat. Now it's for you," he said, his voice shaking slightly. "Leo, we're counting on you. Whatever you do, don't let yourself be without light. And, are you tired? Do you need a rest? We have the country's top medical team en route to you as we speak." Listening to him, a strange warmth bloomed in my chest. I had gone from being a ward of the state to its most valuable asset. The feeling was bizarre, but wonderful. "I'm not tired, sir," I said. "Just a little overwhelmed. I never knew my power could do this." "Your power isn't just strong, son. It's sublime," the general replied. "You command the forces of life itself. We were fools to overlook you. From now on, the nation will protect you with everything it has. You are a national treasure, Leo, our hope." When I hung up, I looked at the faces around me. Maria's eyes were red, but she was smiling. "Leo, I knew it. I knew you weren't useless. You're a hero." Art clapped me on the shoulder, too overcome to speak, just nodding and repeating, "Good, so good. The country is saved." Captain Rogers snapped to attention and gave me a sharp, formal salute. "Mr. Martin, from this moment on, I am your personal head of security. I will protect you with my life." Sam shuffled over, scratching his head sheepishly. "Now, I can't believe I was moping around with you. I guess even an F class can become a hero. Maybe I should try sunbathing more. Who knows, maybe my power will get stronger too." I looked at them all and smiled. The sun shone down on us, warm and bright. It turns out that a so-called dud was just a person who hadn't found their purpose yet. And my purpose, I was beginning to realize, was to use the power of nature to protect the people and the country that had protected me. News of the swarm's purification spread like wildfire. The media played the footage on a loop. Endless waves of monstrous beasts dissolving into dust before a tidal wave of impossible green. My name, Leo Martin, was on everyone's lips. The DA officially reclassified my ability. I was now the world's first and only SSS class talent. They even renamed my power from the pitiful photosynthesis to the far grander nature's dominion. My location became the most secure place on the continent. People from all walks of life, civilians, other ability users, scientists, tried to get a glimpse of me, but the military cordon turned them all away. General Thompson had given strict orders. I needed rest and was not to be disturbed. The convoy took us back to Pine Ridge Sanctuary, but it was no longer the quiet little retreat I remembered. The entire facility was now a military base. Armed soldiers patrolled the perimeter 24/7. Drones hummed in the sky, and a squadron of fighter jets circled high overhead, a permanent honor guard against any conceivable threat. The inside had changed, too. My modest room had been expanded into a luxurious suite. The balcony was now a spacious, sun-drenched terrace complete with multiple lounge chairs and an automated awning, which I never used. My room was equipped with state-of-the-art medical monitors and DR. Evans was now my personal physician, performing daily checkups. Maria was still my caregiver, but she now had a team of the nation's top nutritionists and housekeepers assisting her. Captain Rogers' security team had grown from a handful of guards to a 50-person unit of elite Special Forces soldiers, all of them C-class or higher. He gave me daily security briefings, detailing everything down to a bird flying into the sanctuary's airspace. But the most astonishing thing was the scale of Project Icarus. General Thompson explained that the government had repositioned 18 satellites, each fitted with massive reflectors, to bounce sunlight to my location around the clock. Even in the dead of night, my world would be bathed in daylight. The first time I saw the night sun, I was floored. I was lying in bed when the room began to glow. I walked out onto the terrace and saw a brilliant disk of light hanging in the night sky, a man-made sun. It was a little softer than the real thing, but it was more than enough to illuminate the entire sanctuary. Maria came out with a glass of warm milk. "You can sunbathe at night now, Leo. How does it feel?" I just nodded, overwhelmed with gratitude. The nation was moving heaven and earth for me. I didn't know how I could ever repay them. "Maria," I asked quietly, "am I causing too much trouble for everyone?" She laughed and shook her head. "You silly boy. You saved the country. You saved us. The country doing this for you is the most natural thing in the world. You have no idea. People everywhere see you as their guardian angel. They all want you to be safe and sound." She wasn't exaggerating. Every day, packages arrived. Drawings from children with crayon-scrawled messages. "Thank you for protecting us, Leo." A hand-knitted sweater from an old woman who said it was for when I was sunbathing in the winter. Crates of fresh fruit from farmers whose land had been revitalized by my power. Maria carefully arranged all the gifts in my room. Looking at them, my heart felt full. One day, General Thompson visited, bringing a team of scientists with him. They ran a series of non-invasive tests, studying my ability. They discovered that my power didn't just neutralize beasts, it purified and enhanced the environment. Land touched by my vines became incredibly fertile. The air became cleaner. Even pollutants in the water vanished. "Mr. Martin, your ability is nothing short of a divine gift to humanity," one of the elderly scientists said, his eyes shining. "If we can understand the principles behind your power, we could solve the global environmental crisis. We could even terraform other planets." I felt a little embarrassed. I had no idea why my power worked the way it did. All I did was enjoy the sun. General Thompson just smiled. "Whatever the case, Leo, your only job right now is to relax, stay healthy, and soak up the sun. You leave the rest to us." He also told me they had moved my mom to a secure luxury residence with the best medical care available. I had a video call with her and saw her in a bright, spacious house with a full-time caregiver. She was beaming. "Leo, you're a national hero. I'm so proud of you," she said, her voice catching. "Just take care of yourself, honey. Don't let your old mom worry." "I'm safe, Mom," I reassured her. "They're taking amazing care of me." After the call, Maria brought me a plate of strawberries. "These just came in from Rockbridge," she said, "grown in the soil you healed. They say it's the sweetest fruit they've ever tasted." I popped one in my mouth. It was true. It was unbelievably sweet. My life at Pine Ridge became a routine of pampered tranquility. I woke to the sun each morning, real or artificial. Maria would have a gourmet breakfast ready, made with the finest ingredients from around the world. Afterward, I would lounge on my terrace. The gardens below were now a wonderland of giant, vibrant blooms. Dr. Evans said my aura was strengthening the life force of everything around me. Sometimes Captain Rogers would join me and update me on the front lines. He said that ever since the Omega Swarm was purified, beast activity everywhere had dropped. More than that, many low-class ability users were reporting that their powers were growing stronger, as if my presence was resonating with them. "You remember Sam?" Rogers told me one day. "His vocal amplification is now 10 times stronger, and he can direct the sound with pinpoint accuracy. The Army recruited him. He's a communications specialist now, relaying orders in chaotic battlefields." I felt a surge of joy. My power wasn't just protecting people, it was helping them grow stronger too. One day, I had an urge to see the revitalized Rockbridge for myself. General Thompson was reluctant, citing security concerns, but I insisted. He finally agreed, on the condition that I be escorted by an entire Army battalion and a fleet of fighter jets. Standing on the soil of Rockbridge, I was overcome with emotion. The once devastated city was now bustling with life. Trees lined the streets, shops were open, and the faces of the people were filled with smiles. An old man saw me and ran over, grabbing my hands. "Thank you, Leo. You're our savior. You gave us our city back." A crowd gathered, cheering, offering me flowers and fruit. A little girl gave me a military salute. Looking at their grateful faces, I felt a profound sense of fulfillment. Using my power to protect others was the greatest feeling in the world. Back at the sanctuary, General Thompson had more good news. Leo, our scientists have confirmed it. Your energy not only purifies the environment, but it also seems to accelerate positive evolution in humans with abilities. We believe we can study your gift to help more people awaken nature-aligned powers. Humanity will never have to fear the beasts again. We have you. We have the power of nature on our side. I looked at his ecstatic face, my own heart swelling with hope. Under the protection of nature's dominion, humanity was going to be okay. I still spend my days sunbathing, but I'm no longer the ashamed dud hiding on my balcony. I am a national treasure, humanity's hope, and the most pampered person on the planet. Maria makes me delicious food, Dr. Evans fusses over my health. Captain Rogers guards my safety, and the entire nation sends me their love and support. Sometimes I lie on my lounge chair, soaking in the endless sun, watching the impossibly beautiful flowers in the garden, and I think the most useless ability in the world turned out to be the most powerful force of all. And being cherished by the world you saved is the warmest feeling there is. I know my story isn't over. With my power, I will continue to protect this world and help it heal. Because I am Leo Martin, the government's SSS class protected dud and the guardian of nature itself.